Hello friends! Who said current news are boring? Every day they bring some surprise. Although the great dissemination hasn't yet begun, they are releasing a drop every passing day, which keeps the interest and the curiosity. And what I give are only small droplets because there is much more than I don't have time to process. Opinion article: Mysterious signal from Ganymede. Detected strange radio emission. NASA denies everything as always. Sixto Paz said that there are signs of an ancient civilization. Debate on the existence of a Galactic Federation. Detected gravitational waves from space. Trying to show that the snow in Spain is made of plastic. False news that Trump used cede command to the army. Alert of protests in front of 50 state capitals. This political crisis can stand beyond January 20th. The rovers to the capital suffer layoff and boycott their businesses. The Viking who broke into the capital refuses to eat since his arrest. Orders for the Shaman doll arrived from all over the world to Argentina. Mike Pompeo confronts China by recognizing the independence of Taiwan. About falling into anxiety, speculation and fear spread by the news. Germany dismantles the largest online market on the dark web worldwide. Let's start. NASA detects for the first time a radio signal from Ganymede, one of Jupiter's moon, as revealed yesterday by the news agency Russia Today. NASA's Juno mission probe detected for the first time a radio signal coming from Ganymede. Patrick Wiggins, one of the agency's ambassadors to the state of Utah, stated that this signal wouldn't have extraterrestrial origin, stating that it is more of a natural function. They always say the same thing, but hide the information they have. The signal was recorded for only 5 seconds, while the device was traveling at a speed of 30 kilometers per second through the polar region of Jupiter, where the lines of its magnetic field connect with Ganymede. Local media collect that the phenomenon was caused by the electrons that oscillate at a slower rate than they rotate, which causes them to amplify radio waves very quickly. The probe was launched on August 5th, 2011 and entered the orbit of Jupiter on July 4th, 2016 to study the formation and development of the planet. Juno will observe the gravity and the magnetic fields of Jupiter, its atmospheric dynamics and its composition and evolution, they pointed out from NASA. The largest satellite. Ganymede is the largest natural satellite of Jupiter and the solar system, as well as being the only one that has a magnetic field. In order of distances to the planet, it is the 7th closest and the 3rd of those discovered by Galileo, who found the first group of objects that orbit the planet. It completes its orbit in approximately 7 days and maintains an orbital resonance with Io and Europa of 1 to 4. Its diameter is 5,268 kilometers, 80% larger than that of Mercury, although it only represents 45% of its mass. It is 2% lighter than Titan, the second largest natural satellite, and twice as massive as the Moon. In absolute terms, it is the ninth largest object in the solar system, and the largest without a significant atmosphere. Starting with Pioneer Tryng, several space probes have examined the satellite closely. Voyagers refined the values of its physical characteristics, while Galileo discovered its underground ocean and its magnetic field. The European Space Agency is planning a mission to the system called Jupiter Icy Moon Explorer, which is expected to launch in 2022. After several flybys of the three icy satellites, the probe is expected to enter orbit around Ganymede. Contacted. Josip Ibrahim's book I Visited Ganymede is a classic book in interstellar travel literature. In it, his author, a native of the city of Lima, Peru, tells us about his wonderful journey to the largest satellite orbiting the planet Jupiter. With remarkable depth, not without poetic and spiritual nuances, Josip Ibrahim shows us those areas of human behavior that we should strive to modify. Also, the famous Peruvian contactee Sixto Paz claims to have traveled to the colony that the Galactic Federation has in Ganymede through Exandra or interdimensional portal. Sixto Paz claims to maintain direct communication with inhabitants of the moon of the planet Jupiter, Ganymede, since the mid-70s, and that throughout this time they have provided him with a large amount of information about what we represent to them as a species. It is affirmed that these beings have been aware of everything that has happened in our world, but thus it is also assured that these cosmic visitors had a lot to do with the birth of and work of one of the men who changed the course of humankind since 21 years ago, Jesus of Nazareth. Known for having been the visible head of the Rama mission in several American countries and in Spain, he stands out among the most famous ufologists for having summoned the international press to sightings scheduled in advance on more than 10 occasions. As contacted, he has published 20 books in Spanish and one in English on the subject in June 2017. In his work on ufology, he claims to have systematic methods of physical and mental preparation to promote contact, as well as protocols to document, validate, and confirm contact experiences. Debate or controversy. Deep discussion on the Galactic Federation. According to Arjun Walia, the idea of a Galactic Federation composed of different civilized beings from other worlds that are part of a benevolent alliance received widespread attention about a month ago when Haim Eshed, former head of the space direction of the Israeli Defense Ministry for 30 years, a respected general and professor, claimed that Israel and the US have been in contact with intelligence life for a long time. He claimed that humankind is not yet ready and that we do not have our business to be welcomed into the galactic community, which includes the Galactic Federation. Instead, it seems that we are prepared to be deceived. That is my opinion. However, his words were ridiculed by the media. This is interesting to observe given that the topic of UFOs has been taken seriously by the mainstream lately. The existence of maneuvering UFOs has been confirmed. This is no longer taboo, and neither is the extraterrestrial hypothesis as an explanation for the origin of these objects. CNN and the New York Times provide some examples. As far as a Galactic Federation is concerned, the idea doesn't come from Eschet's claims. This idea is decades old and comes from many channelers, people who claim to be in telepathic or physical contact with Federation beings. It also came from a 1977 mainstream media broadcast that was interrupted, and is also mentioned in a declassified CIA document from the 1980s showing an attempted remote viewing of the Galactic Federation bases on Earth. Gravitational waves. It has been detected background gravitational waves from space. These waves could help answer several open questions in astrophysicists, such as what is the mechanism of formation of massive black holes, and how galaxies collide. Signals similar to low-frequency gravitational waves were detected after more than 12 years of work by the Nanogray Observatory in the US and Canada. These types of waves are caused by the movement of extremely large bodies. Astronomers cannot observe them directly, as they do with stars and galaxies, but to detect them they must measure their effects, which moreover are usually tiny, such as small changes in the position of other objects, including the Earth itself. Bad joke. False news that Trump cedes command to the army. Hacked into the department by a disgruntled employee. The State Department website posted a notice yesterday that the president's term ended at 7:49 p.m. that night. The vice president's bio page was also changed to read Michael R. Pence's term ended on 2021 1/11 at 1944 22 seconds. Donald J. Trump's term ended on the mentioned date. The biographical page said, people are understandably looking for answers, but BuzzFeed News reported that two State Department diplomats said the culprit was a disgruntled employee. One of the diplomats said Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has ordered an international investigation into the matter, beginning with the interns and employees who left Foggy Bottom. The State Department is investigating what appeared to be a hoax after its website suggested the president's term would end Monday night. The change to the Trump apartment biography page, which read Donald J. Trump's term ended on 2021 1/11 7:49 minutes, created an internet frenzy on Monday afternoon. The mistake comes as the president is under increasing pressure to resign as he faces a second impeachment trial after his supporters stormed the Capitol last week in an attempt to stop the certification of the electoral defeat of the agent. Two people familiar with the incident say the department is investigating exactly how it happened, while the department hasn't ruled out the possibility that the entry has the work of a disgruntled employee, and they have yet to reach any conclusions. The people spoke on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss it publicly. Since then, the page has been removed, obviously. On Monday, January 11, at the last minute, Fox News cancelled coverage of the president's speech on freedom of expression. Many others have permanently terminated their accounts on Twitter, Facebook, and other social networks. Political trial. Impeachment. Resolution for the January 6 speech. The House of Representatives has issued a resolution to prosecute the president, accusing him of incitement to insurrection, in quotes, and they are expected to vote this week to approve it. The statements to which the chamber attributes incitements to violence are ambiguous. The resolution mentions one, in quotes, "If you don't fight bravely, you won't have a country anymore." Close quote. And if the resolution passes, he would be the first president to be impeached twice. If the House impeachment requires a simple majority, however, a two-thirds majority is required to convict a president in the Senate. House is likely to consider impeachment on Wednesday. The House expects to begin considering a second impeachment trial on Wednesday, a senior Democrat said Monday, after the president was formally charged with inciting insurrection before the assault on the Capitol last week. Trump says the impeachment process provokes a lot of anger, but he doesn't want violence. The president affirmed that the measure to start an impeachment against him provoked tremendous anger, but added that the violence must be avoided. "I don't want violence," he told reporters before heading toward the border wall in Alamo, Texas. In his first comment to journalists since December 8th, the president refused to answer the question of whether he would resign. Alert of protests in front of the 50 state capitals. The Federal Bureau of Investigation reported that protests are being planned in front of the 50 state capitals between January 16 and 20th. They are also calling for the storming of the courts and administrative buildings of state, local and federal governments if that dismissal takes place. The robbers of the Capitol suffer layoffs and boycott their businesses. Several people who participated in the assault on the Capitol in the middle of protests last Wednesday were fired by their employers after being identified on social networks through images shared by many of the protesters themselves. German authorities dismantled largest online darknet market. The German police have dismantled the largest dark web portal, that is, non-publicly accessible sites known as the dark net, dedicated to the illegal sale of drugs, bank card details, malicious programs, as well as fake documents and money. The Viking who broke into the Capitol refuses to eat since his arrest because they do not give him organic food. After his first appearance in federal court, the judge ordered to provide Jacob Chansley with food according to his strict organic diet Shaman. Jacob, alias Jake Angeli or Shaman, has not eaten anything since he was arrested last Saturday at the FBI office in Phoenix, Arizona. where he voluntarily appeared after returning from Washington after participating in the assault on the Capitol in the past January 6th. This was denounced by his lawyer on Monday during Chancellor's first appearance in federal court. Orders to the Shaman doll come from all over the world to Argentina. The toy manufacturer Ye Milonga has made a Jacob Anthony Chancellor doll, known as Jake Angeli or the Shaman, who participated in the assault on the Capitol dressed with a fur hat and horns. Situation update. First, Mike Adams affirms that the insurrection law has been invoked, but that the generals refuse to comply with it, leaving it null and void. Second, Representative David Nunes calls for the criminal prosecution of the executive directors of the great technology Big Tech for their systematic censorship of patriotic points of view. Third, the president has been banned from most social media platforms, supposedly for inciting riots in the Capitol. Fourth, the lawyer Lin Wood announced the return of the gold standard and the declassification of documents, as revealed yesterday by the channel Inmaculada TV of the fellow Inmaculada Fernandez, comrade. Evidence can only be presented in court because the law prohibits its transmission online. It is a good time to invest in gold, silver, land and real assets against paper, whoever can. Fifth, Anika from Temer said yesterday on the channel Despejando Enigmas of comrade Robert Carbonell that Joe Biden will probably be named president in the media, but they will remove him when the pieces are in place. She added, it's Anika. She added that this political crisis can extend beyond January 20th. Alberto Canosa believes that the snowfall has disinfected Spain, but my theory is that there is no bug, but contagious nanotechnology dust, in which case the snowfall would have also served. Seventh, one YouTuber tried to show that the snow that falls in Spain is made of plastic, and the networks do not forgive. The protagonist of a viral video makes a ball with snow from her terrace, takes it inside her home, and tries to melt it the flame of a lighter to prove that it is not real snow. The deniers who discuss their nature also appear on the networks. These conspiracists burn snowballs with a lighter in their attempt to show that it's actually plastic. I don't know the truth. Tension with China. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo just ended the recognition of China's One China policy that excluded Taiwan. He now opens the door to the recognition of Taiwan. Pompeo has crossed China's red line in Taiwan. Mike Pompeo's latest attempt to improve ties between the United States and Taiwan has enraged Beijing, and it's a direct challenge to Xi Jinping. China's reaction could be a major problem. On Saturday, Mike Pompeo lifted restrictions between U.S. officials and their counterparts in Taiwan, claiming that the protocols were self-imposed to appease Beijing. Pompeo said the State Department would no longer follow them, prompting a furious response from China, which declared that his decision crossed a red line. China threatens a firm counterattack. Meanwhile, the Taiwanese authorities praised Washington's measure, calling it a great step. China declared that it resolutely opposes the decision to lift all restrictions on cooperation with Taiwan, with the Asian giant claims as its own territory, and threatened a counterattack. The Chinese daily Global Times warned against any plans by Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to visit Taiwan, stressing that Beijing's response would be overwhelming. But Mike Pompeo has no intention to visit Taiwan now. Pressure cooker. There are many things in the world that are confusing and even overwhelming. It's like you are in a pressure cooker and the pressure is continually increasing and it will continue to increase for a while yet, according to Jennifer Crockett. When you get lost in the news in the media, the constant updates from social networks, the wonder and worry of what will happen next, you have lost your simplicity and your focus in present moment. You have entered a no man's land of anxiety, speculation, and fear. Don't be afraid of what lies ahead. ATMs, the internet, and credit card processing could fail at any time. If you are told to stay indoors, it is for your own safety. Don't get involved with the military. They are part of a worldwide operation to take down the swamp oaks and are not a threat to honest people. There will be two phases, from now until January 19 and from January 19 for the next 90 days. The war is won, and victory is found in love, forgiveness, patience, compassion, peace, joy, and creativity. The only result is a victory of the light. However, you have to go through the process of creating that victory. Your heart is the first line of battle. Your emotions play a very important role in the manifestation of this victory. By focusing on kindness, patience, love, compassion, forgiveness, and the myriad qualities of light, you create an easier passage through this confusion. Shorten the time of confusion and advance your timeline to the end of this chapter. You are ready. You have already won. You only need to work towards victory, expressing the qualities of love in your current moment. So let's turn our attention to the simplicity of now. When you bring your attention to your current moment, you become focused and productive. You collapse all the timelines at your point of power in your now moment. By focusing on your current moment, you create simplicity and clarity in your life, allowing you to choose to express the inner light. Yes, it is difficult, but you can still smile. Yes, it is painful, but you can still choose to be nice. It is within you. You have that power to go deep and draw from the infinite reserves of the heart. I wish you good feelings. Thank you, dear friends. Have a good day.